Oh, beautiful souls, welcome to this video on the Aries full moon. So this full moon is going to be the last one before we enter eclipse season, making it very significant because eclipses are a time of change, a time of transformation, a time where we see miracles activated, manifestations accelerated, and things cleared from our life that no longer serve our path or our highest timeline. Also, what's interesting about this Aries full moon is as we move into 2024, the new and full moons that are occurring in Aries are going to be eclipses. So understanding this archetypal energy, how it is at play within you, how you can co-create with it is going to be extremely helpful, not only as we wrap up this year preparing for eclipse season, but as we enter the new year. So last week, I actually did a free masterclass called Portal of Expansion, Ignite Your Business with Abundance this eclipse season. And I shared activations with you in your Akashic records. I guide you into the records, guide you through activations that help you build momentum in your business and open up those channels of receiving. So if you want to watch the replay, I'm going to attach the link below as soon as you sign up now. You'll have instant access. And if you are wanting to gather in person to celebrate the full moon lunar eclipse on October 28th and 29th, I am hosting an in-person retreat in Malibu. I have a gorgeous beach home in Malibu where we'll be gathering to bring in these energies. The focus is cosmic abundance, and everything about this event, from the location to the ceremonies we'll be doing to the food to all of it, is really supporting you in embodying that frequency of abundance, living from that space and that energy and that vibe. So I'll also attach the link below if you are interested in checking that out. All right, let us dive into this full moon. Before I share my screen, I'm going to go over a little bit about the archetypal energy of Aries and Libra, and then we'll look at the aspects. So Aries energy is it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's mutable fire. It wants to move. It wants to take action. It's the initiator, the pioneer, the warrior, the warrioress. It is courageous. It leans in and it goes for what it wants without overthinking. And this energy can really help move things forward if you are somebody who tends to sit in indecision or doesn't have that confidence in yourself. It can really bring that to light. So one of my favorite affirmations that I have been sharing for years that really it embodies the energy of Aries is I am greater than any obstacle that comes my way. I will always rise. It's one of my favorite downloads I received in the records years ago that became an affirmation that really resonated with me, that I've shared out many times on social media. And it embodies that archetypal energy of Aries when we know our power, when we know our value, when we trust ourselves to show up and follow through. We don't allow fears or challenges or obstacles to hold us back. It doesn't mean we don't experience them. We're human. We just don't allow them to get in the way because we know how powerful we are. We are able to move through it. So that's the Aries vibe. Now, opposite the moon in Aries is Libra. So we're working with the Aries Libra axes. And Libra is about the relationship with others. So for Aries, we cultivate a strong relationship with the self, with ourself. With Libra, it's about how we connect and communicate with those around us, how we set boundaries. And Libra energy very much craves harmony and balance. It doesn't want disagreements. It is very interested in hearing other people's point of view and perspective and finding that middle ground. So there's certainly a focus around relationships with this full moon, and both the relationship that we have with ourselves, how we relate to ourselves, how we see our ability to create what we desire, and Libra, the relationships we have with other people and where we may be needing to strengthen our boundaries. So I'm going to share my screen here so we can dive in even more deeply with these energies. So 6 degrees of Aries is where we have the full moon opposing the sun over here at 6 degrees of Libra. And that is what makes it a full moon, is this opposition. So we also have Chiron in the mix here. Chiron in Aries, it is quite a few degrees away from the full moon, but it's really speaking to me. I think it is worth looking at here. So in your birth chart, the location of Chiron can show where you have insecurities, where you kind of doubt yourself and your abilities. And these insecurities can come from early on experiences you have early on in your life or even past lives. But because it's part of your blueprint, it is something that your soul wants to grow through this lifetime, wants to resolve. So collectively, we currently have Chiron in the sign of Aries. And this is where it puts the spotlight on insecurities we have around our confidence, around ourselves, around our ability to initiate and lead. And the thing here is recognizing that often what we see as our weakness or a downfall or a challenge or obstacle that we face in life, as we move through it, as we have the courage to face it, we discover our strength, we discover our power, and it often becomes something that we want to teach and share it with others. Like, I know for me, I've always had like the heart of a teacher, in the sense of when I learn something, like I want to share with everyone if it's something I've learned that's really helped me. And I work with many healers, light workers, spiritual entrepreneurs. So if you're listening and you have your own business and you're really kind of wondering what you're called to share at this time, what your message is, look at the things you've navigated in your life. What have you overcome? What were the tools that helped you overcome those obstacles? And how can you now teach and share that with somebody else? How can you now help them? And I have found in my own journey that often the things that don't necessarily come easy to me, but I have to dig in and learn it, or perhaps work a little harder, they're things that eventually I am able to master, and I become very good at teaching that to others because I know what it's like to be on the other side. So I would say the same thing for you. Look at what maybe didn't come easy, but you learned the skills and you were able to come out the other side with a new mindset, with new tools, or something you once struggled with that felt really hard that now feels easy. How can you share those gifts with other people? Other people can benefit from your knowledge and your wisdom. We sometimes think that because something now feels easy to us or is status quo for us, that others are experiencing the same thing or know the same thing, and it's just not true. Like, you can help them with your experience, with your knowledge, with your wisdom. So that's the Chiron energy here. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Mars. So we currently have Mars over here in the sign of Libra. And because Mars is the ruler of Aries, it is the ruler of this full moon. And they have the same archetypal energies, or very similar, where Mars is also about drive, ambition. It is that masculine energy of going for it. The location of Mars in your chart can reveal a lot about how you move toward your goals, how you manifest, how you work with your inner source of power and energy. So Mars in Libra is the furthest away from Aries, where it's at home, where it rules Aries. So the expression of this energy changes. Mars in Libra is very interested in finding balance, finding harmony, finding the middle ground, not just going for it, leaning and taking action, but it wants to think about it a little bit. It wants to talk about it. It wants to have other people's perspectives. So at this full moon, there may be a little bit of a pull within you. Always with a full moon, we're working with that opposition. So there may be a part of you or a certain area of your life where you're like, it's go time. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to make the decision. But then the other part of you that feels really stuck or trapped, in the sense of like, you're overthinking, what do I do? What's the right decision? What move do I make? And wanting to hear from the people in your life. So I always tell my clients to be very intentional about what they share with who, because when we share information with someone, when we share our vision or our goals, we have their energy on it now. Like, they're going to project their thoughts, their opinions, their beliefs. And if we aren't solid in what we know to be true, or that our goals are inevitable, it can shake us a little bit. It can make it harder to hear our intuition. So I'm sharing this to say, I'll say the same to you. Be intentional about who you share your dreams with, who you share your goals with, who you talk about certain things with, because it can make it feel a little confusing when we have other people's energy in the mix, and it can take us away from just clearly hearing our intuition. So if you find you're struggling with indecision in your life, it may be a time just to take more time to connect with you, to strengthen the relationship you have with yourself and how your intuition speaks to you, and just kind of be selective about who you're speaking to on these different topics in your life. You don't necessarily want everybody's energy. Well, I would say you definitely don't want just everybody's energy kind of pouring over your creations. You want to be selective and intentional with that. So Mars is making a really beautiful aspect here with Venus, which is actually the ruler of Libra, the ruler of the sun at this time as it travels through Libra. So we have a beautiful sextile happening here between Venus and Mars. And where Mars could be seen as connected more with the masculine energies, Venus is very much the feminine energies. And in astrology, a sextile is a harmonious flow of energy, which means the planets are working together. So we have this beautiful coming together of the masculine and feminine, and that balance within you, and it's different within each of us. So this can really be looking at where it's time to just go for it, to stop being in the energy of indecision, make a decision, go for it. And where it's also the time to look at where you need to nourish yourself a little bit more, where you've taken the action, you've done your part, and now it's time to step back, allow and receive, allow the universe to catch up. Using cooperative components. I know Abraham Hicks talks about that, allowing the cooperative components to come into play once you've done your part. So it's a good balance there. Now, Venus is still in its shadow phase. It had a long retrograde. It's been hanging out in Leo forever. If you've followed my videos, you've probably seen that. Now, Venus in Leo is very fun. It is very playful. It's very creative. And where it's still in shadow phase here, you may also have this theme in your life where you are really looking at, still in this question, which we've been in for a while, but now having more clarity. What lights you up? What fills you with joy? Where is your heart calling you? What is it time to lean into and say yes to? I think often we know where our intuition is guiding us when we really take time to listen, but sometimes we're afraid to actually hear it because we're afraid of how it will call us to step up and then take action. So that's another theme this full moon. It's like, do you have the courage to follow where your intuition is leading you? It's one thing to hear it and listen to it, but do you have the courage to then follow through with it? We also have Venus squaring Uranus, an exact square. They're both at 22 degrees. Uranus is in Taurus, Venus over here in Leo. This is the third time this happened this year, this aspect, because of the Venus retrograde. So Uranus is the disruptor, the awakener, also really supportive of forward momentum. So I'm really seeing that theme emerge with this full moon. Moving forward, where are you holding back, not embracing change because you're afraid of the unknown, which is totally normal. We're human, right? That's the way our brain is programmed. We're going to be afraid of something that's new simply because it's different. It's unknown. But this energy here is helping you connect with that part of you that is courageous, that is the warrioress, that can lean in and embrace change, because that is the natural evolution of life. And the way Uranus works when it comes into the mix, it feels disruptive when we are going with the flow of change. It feels like an awakening when we're ready to lean in, evolve, and grow. It's a very powerful aspect here. So what I'm intuitively feeling around this, because this is not the first time that Venus squared Uranus this year and that formation has been made, this area of your life that you are being called to change, to up level, you already know what it is, and it's been in your heart the last few months, and now it's like, it's time. Are you going to go with it? Are you going to lean in? And maybe you already have been, and this can just take you to new realms of expansion. It can take you to the next level. yeah, there's like continued growth there. But if you're resisting it, it's going to come off very, very strongly this full moon. And what you don't want to do is get caught in the lower octave expression of Libra, the indecision, the going back and forth, which leaks a lot of energy. Make a decision, line up with it. I promise you'll feel so much better without that like back and forth energy. So we do want to be aware of that throughout Libra season where we're stuck in indecision. And we look at Aries here. Aries says we make a decision, we line up with it, we go for it, we don't overthink it. That's the Aries vibe. All right, so these are the main energies at play here, this full moon. I'm going to stop the share. I would love to hear from you below. I always love connecting with you, so feel free to say hi. Let me know how you're experiencing these energies or simply what you are releasing and letting go of this full moon. Full moons are always a time to look at what we are letting go of. One final thing, actually, that's coming in as well. So the corresponding new moon, the Aries new moon that we had in March, you may want to look back and think, what are some of the intentions you set in March? And now looking at, have they come to fruition? And celebrating that. If they haven't, what is it time to let go and release in order to create that manifestation? There's often a lot of releasing and letting go of old belief systems, old habits, old ways of seeing ourselves, old ways of showing up that are necessary if we want to create something new. And this Aries energy is that energy of newness. But because it's a full moon, there's also what needs to go, what needs to be released in order to expand into the new. All right, so just a reminder, Portal of Expansion is below, Malibu retreat details are below, and I am sending you all so much love. Thank you for being on this journey with me, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.